Turn that off. It's time for No Pad Sports Talk. Stay tuned as two brothers bring you the latest from your Michigan teams and beyond in hockey, baseball, football, and more. Let's get started. Here are your hosts, JD and Steve.
Welcome to another edition of No Pad Sports Talk. I am one of your hosts, JD.
And I'm Steve, and we're trying to jump in here real quick before the Lions get started because, well, I didn't have a lot of time yesterday to get through any of this stuff. So we're trying to get in here real quick, give you our predictions, and at least we can say we got it in and we said it before the game started.
It is currently 7:30 when we're beginning this, so yeah, well, of course, it'll take time for it to process, upload, all that kind of stuff. But we are recording this about 7:30, so it's about 45 minutes before game start time. It's about the, like Steve was saying, it's the earliest we could get this done. So we're trying to squeeze it in here. So,
yeah. Well, if YouTube
said, it's going to be a squeeze.
Yeah, if YouTube could process videos faster.
Yeah, it does take a while going into 4K. We try to process everything at 4K. So. But yeah, so the game though, right? So obviously first call out is playing in Green Bay, and this is going to be the Lions' first divisional opponent of the year. I think it's also Green Bay's first divisional opponent of the year as well. They just played on Sunday, both teams did. So they're going to be both teams coming in on a short rest, coming into Thursday. We have a ton of injuries, both teams actually.
Yep.
That's been one of my major concerns for the Lions, because of course I don't care about Green Bay. But my major concern for the Lions is, coming in here all banged up. They don't have a chance to let their bodies rest and heal. I was actually pretty surprised. We'll kind of get the injury report later, but I was pleasantly surprised that Taylor Decker is playing. So I wasn't really kind of expecting that.
Yeah, neither was I. So when I heard that, I was like, because I was already talking about it today about how I'm hoping we reached out and trying to get a left tackle so Penei Sewell can move back to right tackle. Not because he played fine. It was uncomfortable for him, and you could see it was uncomfortable, hand placement, those types of things. So I'm trying to get somebody back in here, that can play that left tackle position because that's a tough position.
Yeah.
Typically you're going to get the best, defensive lineman, that linebacker, that defensive end. That guy's going to be, coming from the blind side. And, in most instances, the blind side would be, that left side of the offensive line. So, but yeah, so I was talking about the game today. And with some of my students, if Cooper happens to be listening to this at one time, hey, good luck to your Philadelphia Eagles. But today's all about the Lions. And
yeah.
But yeah, he's the one that likes to give me a hard time in class. But it's all in good fun. It's talking football. We're just talking smack. So I appreciate it.
Well, speaking about kind of others, whatever, I got to throw this in there real quick. We had a guest host on for one of our last episodes talking about the Michigan Wolverines. And it's Steve's good friend and overall just a friend of the family, Scott. And, they've been friends for so long. We all know who he is in the family, right? He's a good friend of the family.
He's kind of like that brother. He's like the other brother.
Yeah. He's like the other brother
Yeah, he's the one that we probably go hang out with.
And something just happened to Steve's thing here. I don't know what's going on here, but looks like he's back. Yeah.
I touched my USB.
Oh, well, that's what happens. He touched something. But at any rate, so our mom, of course, listens to the show. She loves to listen out there. So hi, Mom. But so now Scott's been a guest host twice now. Once when we were solely doing the podcast thing, no video, and then again one of the last episodes. And I'd say both of those episodes, our mom had the best feedback for us, like how good the show was. So I'm just thinking she just likes, Scott on the show is what I'm thinking. I don't really think that.
You think
has
she's
anything to do
tired
with
of he
us.
listen? Yeah, I think she's tired of listening to you and me, and it was nice to hear somebody else's voice.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
So
because
that was mom's nice way of saying, boys, you need to step up your game.
But anyways, thanks again, Scott. I guess you made the show the best it's been in a while, so we appreciate that. But anyway, enough joking aside, I guess. But but going back to the Lions, though, right? We kind of mentioned it on the post game for the last show. The Lions' offensive game plan is not going to change. They're going to try to run the ball, dominate on the ground, do play action, and move the ball down the field. Like that's going to be their offensive game plan every single game moving forward. There's not really a lot to break down here, except for saying that the running back situation is going to be a little bit different now because Montgomery supposedly is going to play as well. That should help in short yardage situations. And I don't know, like.
I know, I know you want to. You probably might say this, or you might be thinking it. I'm still hoping they run Jahmyr Gibbs between the tackles.
I'm hoping that they just limit Montgomery only because we don't want him re-injured, right? Like let him run the plays that he's best suited to run, and then allow Jahmyr Gibbs to still kind of be the premier back. Like I also said during one of the episodes that I'm not really favorable to one running back or the other just in terms of whoever has the hot hand. If Montgomery's gashing him 5-6 yards of carry, you give the ball to Montgomery. Feed the guy. If Jahmyr Gibbs is the guy that's, getting you yards, and feed the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, whatever. I just want the ball to go down the field, right? I don't care who does it. But I do hope that in this game, they use Jahmyr Gibbs a little more in the passing game. Only having one catch last game, I don't understand that. Because that's not, that's what he does the best. Let him do what he does best.
That's true, but I think the way the short passing game was working, with Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, like I think the way. While I didn't like that they weren't throwing him the ball more, they were still moving the ball. Right?
Yes.
And I'm wondering if they were just trying to limit how many times they were going to throw him the ball because he was running the ball so much, like, as far as handles, right? So I think that's part of it.
I was thinking that as well.
Yeah. So in the end, I agree with you. He's definitely, I think, more effective when you can get him out in space.
Yep.
He did show, like, at the end of the game, as the defense was wearing down, that he could gash him up the middle. I think that's where the strength of our offensive line is, from just inside the tackles, right there. I think that's where we're going to be good, and that's where we need to be running the ball. Bringing tight end motion, running up there, with a fullback double, just and making the water part.
I don't. Overall, for the passing game last game, I'm not against that. I'm not against feeding Laporte. I'm not against feeding Amon-Ra St. Brown. But what I am, I guess, speaking about specifically was some of the screen passes they threw, even to Laporta. I think one of the wide receivers, it wasn't St. Brown. I forget which one that actually was, though. He had one. I just think those balls should go to St. Brown, or if the defense expects it to go to St. Brown, use him as a fake. Fake the screen out there to him. Throw it, completely to the opposite side as everybody's moving to that one way, right? Do something.
Yeah.
But I still think you have to feed him. I still like that little, I don't want to call it a hook because it's not really a curl, but, he comes out from behind, like usually in shotgun formation, kind of comes out from, runs outside the tackle and kind of cuts back inside, runs behind the linebackers.
Yeah.
I really love that play for Jahmyr Gibbs. And we have a quarterback, Goff, that has nice touch on the passes. He can get it right over the linebackers, so and right before the safeties. And I think that's going to be there. And speaking of that, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, Alexander for the Packers is going to be out.
Yep. He'll be out.
So, that's going to be a tough matchup on the Packers side. And that's going to be something that Detroit's going to have to exploit, with Amon-Ra first down, with Laporta, et cetera, right? Like, they're going to have to go after this cornerbacks today.
No, I absolutely agree with you. So, when you got one of the best down, you got to use what you can. I do like that motion because that gets Gibbs, near full speed when the ball is snapped.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because he's already in motion, and then, when he makes that puts that right foot or left foot down and he steps across the line of scrimmage and he jumps on behind. I mean, 3 steps in and he's like full speed, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of slowly coming up and around, And like you said, Goff does have good touch, and he's able to, lead him out there and get it in between the linebackers and the safety, find that nice open space to put the ball.
And I'm thinking it depends how good our offensive line does this game. We kind of saw some correction towards they made some corrections during halftime in last game, but I was speaking specifically to when our offensive linemen started going down, and we were basically scraping the bottom of the barrel, and Goff was being hurried and stuff like that. What you've seen a lot at that point were some rollouts, some play action. Goff took nice rollout, trying to get out of the pocket, trying to just give him more time, see the field. And if our offensive line, because let's face it, they're not going to be 100%. Both Jonah Jackson and Decker were limited in practice all week, so they're all banged up. We know Ragnow's banged up. Vitai's not playing, I'm not sure exactly on Sewell's status. Haven't heard much about him, but at any rate, we got a banged up offensive line. So even though Decker's coming back and Jackson's playing, they may not be 100%, and we may start seeing a lot of pressure on Goff, and that's where, the play action and the rollouts have to come into play.
Yeah. The thing about those that I don't mind the rollout, I think with the rollout, you really got to be able to get the ball out a little quicker. You cut your field in half, right?
You do, 100%.
Goff doesn't have a cannon where I think he's going to be able to throw it back across the field, So you're really helping the defense when you roll out unless you can get the ball out quickly, right? So it's the play action, quick rollout, sprinting to your left and dumping it off to a tight end or the receiver that came in behind the linebackers, right? So,
yep.
That's the play that it has to be. Otherwise, the rollout, you're just helping the defense run you out of bounds.
I agree. Again, it's going to be situational, but I trust the offensive coordinator. I think he'll have some, good plays in his back pocket to use. Because, again, I'm not talking about, every single play or whatever for the rollout, but you got to use it situationally just to keep the defense on their toes.
Right.
Just because you don't want them, if the ends keep coming in and keep crashing and they're being really disruptive, that can work against the defense with the rollout, and even though you're cutting your field in half, it just gives the defense something else to think about, and that's all that we have to do with a banged up offensive line is if the defense takes an extra half a second to dissect what's happening before they start with their actual bull rush, pass rush, whatever it is, right? That's going to help. So
yeah,
it just has to be something else that they see to think about.
Correct. So what I'm hoping, offensively, I think we're going to have what we have. Just like you said, the game plan's not going to change. We're going to be, run the ball. We're going to play action. That's going to be our game. That's what we do. I think that's what we do well.
Yep.
Defensively, I think we're going to need to rely a lot on our front seven again to help out the secondary.
I want to see more Brian Branch.
We all do. We all do. The man was everywhere last game, and it was. We talked about it in the pregame last week about how much he was going to have to step up, right?
Yes, we did.
Because everybody that was down, and man, did he ever. And even Emmanuel Mosley was like, "This guy's the guy. He's the guy."
Well, he got, I mean, and deservedly so, but like national attention for this. Not just Lions fans, not just, not even just commentators, but just fans across the league are like, wow, like who is this guy? Like, like Brian Branch put himself on the map last game. That was an amazing game.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right though. I agree with you. Front seven. Campbell got his first start last game. I hope he starts again this game. Because he is our most athletic linebacker. Anzalone had a great game. I have to give him, props, for it too. I mean, I think those two guys, they could be a pretty formidable wrecking crew, But we're gonna say it again, right? Like the defensive line's gonna have to come to play. If the defensive line shows up against this rookie, well, he's not a rookie, but you know what I mean. First time starting, for Jordan Love.
Right.
First year starting, I should say. He's had some accuracy issues. He's had some, a little bit of happy feet. But like overall, like he's been pretty decent. I'm not knocking the guy, but if you can rattle him, I think this defensive line could, then yeah, like that's just going to give you a huge advantage.
Absolutely. So when you look at the Packers on their offensive front, David Bakhtiari is out.
Yes.
Actually, they put him on the IR today. He's out at least 4 weeks. They do have Aaron Jones coming back and Christian Watson coming back. And I, like you said, talked about Jack Campbell. I think that's where, his length and his size and his ability to move is going to be huge right there in the middle. And I'm going to call it right now before you take him from me, but he's going to be my defensive guy for this week. I'm taking Jack Campbell.
All right.
I think he's going to have an interception, a sack. I'm going to go out. Interception, sack, and a fumble recovery.
Wow, dude, that's okay. All right, you are going all out for that. All right.
I am going all out. Look, go big or go home.
Okay.
Since we're both home, well, there you go.
So here's what I'm looking at. The Packers are less than 50% on third down conversions. Right? They're 20 for 43. They're actually getting more first downs by passing than by rushing. So they got 14 first downs by rushing, 33 by passing. Again, this is so far this year, okay, through 3 games. They're averaging 5 yards per play with 178 offensive plays ran. They're not doing too bad as far as offensively. Right. That's pretty respectable anyways, right? Got 10 touchdowns, 3 field goals in 3 games. So, but what we have, and 2 touchdowns were from rushing, 7 by passing, and 1 defensive. So you talk about 7 passing touchdowns in 3 games. So when they get, now that may change because they got Jones back this week.
Right.
So they might, try running it in more of a goal line situations than what they were before because they've only been averaging 3.4 yards per rush so far this season. But, Jones could definitely change that. But they love to have Love throw into the end zone. So that's just something that, I'm sure the Lions studied that in film. The plays that he loves to do the most down in the goal line formation. And then, like how to read it and how to cover it. And that's what we have to hope for. I mean, we'll hope they never get it within the red zone, but that's probably not going to happen.
Right. Well, if you look at last week's game, and we're both playing on a short week. They were down. The Packers were down 17-0.
17-0. Yep.
All the way into the fourth quarter. Right? They didn't score. So, and the Saints didn't score any points. Derek Carr, right. Got hurt and he was out, and you have your backup and Winston, and he's just, there's a reason he's the backup, and I don't even know that he'd be my second stringer, right? If you can't move your offense and he was the guy running that, look, you got to move on. I digress. So,
Right.
But that to me, the Packers defensively weren't able to really slow down the Saints much, at least in the first half. Like coming in the second half, they didn't, but offensively, they weren't moving the ball either. So I think that changes your scheme sometimes when you get a backup quarterback, you can't get in there, right? So they're not scoring any points. So that really hypes up the defense on that side too. So that's, and then on the backside, that kind of translates over onto the offensive side for the Packers. But if you look at that game and you take anything from that, to me, the defense is vulnerable.
I would definitely agree with that. Yes, defense is vulnerable. Yeah. Yeah.
So if we can keep the pressure on, stay out on the field, long drives, 5-6 minute drives, wear them down. Eventually, when we want to run and we need to run the clock, we're going to be able to do that.
Well, I agree with you. Because look, we have to look for Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark. They have a pretty good, defensive line just in general. Lucas Van Ness.
Yeah.
He got his first sack. Or I think against Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. So like they have they have people that can rush the passer, right? So you have to just pay attention. And again, that might play in their favor because our offensive line's a little banged up. So Green Bay is going to win. If Green Bay is going to win, it's going to be, at least defensively anyways, right? We're talking about defensively. They're going to win with their defensive line, disrupting our running game and disrupting the passing game. But they are vulnerable in the backfield for sure. And I think with Alexander out, obviously that makes them more vulnerable. But, like how much time is Goff can have to throw the ball? That's what it's going to boil down to.
Yeah.
Because we did see him last game, like when he started getting hit and hurried, he started looking pretty bad. He was overthrowing some receivers, and you can tell that he started his whole body language just changed, and he started almost getting angry at just everyone around him, the offensive line, the wide receivers, it just everything changed about him, his whole demeanor.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Rashawn Gary. I know he's been on the injury report. It looks like I think it says it looked like he was supposed to play. But he's coming back off injury too. Right?
Right.
So
he is. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't know how effective he's going to be. So to me, I think you run at the teeth, right? Run at the strength and see what you can do. If they can hold up, right? If you're getting able to down, push them around. If not, then obviously you got to change. It's not going to work, right?
Right.
But
sure.
I think you go out there at the Lions. If you're Coach Campbell, which we've seen him do some very interesting things, right? Run it right into the teeth of their defense and see what it's made of, and
No, I agree. No, it's sometimes to slow down the pass rush, you run it right towards the pass rushers themselves, right?
That's right.
Because it's different pass rushing than what it is from trying to defend against the run, and kind of like we were talking about. Well, I was going to mention about the rollouts, trying to get the defense something to think about. If you're doing smash mouth football and running it right at them, that's another way to achieve the same thing that I was talking about. With the rollouts, it just gives them something else to think about. Especially when we start throwing play action in there, and the play action's coming to your side. Is it going to be a handoff, or am I going to be able to rush the passer? So I 100% agree with you. You run at the teeth, especially if depending on Montgomery's health. But I'd rather he's a little bit of a stronger runner inside, and just because that's the strength of our defense running inside, right? Yep. Let's see if he can punish a couple defenders.
Yeah.
But the overall though, you kind of already gave us one of your players that you think is going to be the defensive player of the game.
Yep.
You said Jack Campbell for that one, but
Yep.
who do you think is going to be the offensive player of the game?
I'm gonna go with the kind of, I'm gonna go obvious, but I'm gonna go with Amon-Ra St. Brown.
You took both my guys, dude. I should have went first.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
115 yards, touchdown, 10 catches.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right.
I know it sounds kind of like his normal stat line. I know.
That's pretty close to what he had last game, except for I think last game he didn't have a touchdown, though. I don't think so, right? It was the,
no,
it was the second game I think he had one.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Well,
But I'm going to give you my final score, 24-17 Lions.
24-17 Lions.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Right.
So I was gonna go Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I can't do that now. So because I got to pick someone other than you. And I think going Jared Goff is just gonna be, I don't know, like kind of a way to cheat, I guess. So I'm gonna go with Jahmyr Gibbs. I picked him a couple times now.
Yep.
I'll go back to Jahmyr Gibbs, and see what he has in store for us today. And defensively, again, I was gonna go Jack Campbell, but I'm gonna have to. I'm thinking either Brian Branch or Aiden Hutchinson. I think they're both gonna come up big, but I'm gonna go Aiden Hutchinson on this one. I like the way they've been using Aiden Hutchinson recently. They've been moving him all over the defensive line, trying to give him different matchups, and I think that's going to work into the Lions' favor in this game. And I'm going to say he's going to get a sack, but he's going to be all over the quarterback all day. I mean, obviously the quarterback's going to run. He's going to try to get out of the pocket, and he can move. So that's why I'm not going to give Aiden Hutchinson 2 sacks, but I would give him 1 sack and just be kind of harassing the quarterback all day today.
Okay.
And my final score, I'm going to do 27-17 Lions.
Okay. Yep. So just for the betting line, according to CBS Sports, here's what all right, Packers Lions spreads got Lions at -2, and the over/under is at 45.
I was going 44 points, so I guess I go the under.
Yeah. So the Lions are 14-6 against the spread in their last 20 games.
Oh, wow. All right.
So it's not bad.
I don't ever do the spread. I don't ever bet on or against the Lions because it seems like no matter what I do, they're going to make me lose and make me waste my money.
Right?
So
because you bet the over and they're going to do the under. And,
yeah.
Even if they win, we lose. So
we lose.
We're like, we just talk about it. We don't give them any of our money.
No, because that's exactly what it'll be. Just me giving them money. I might as well just go burn up, whatever. But
no, even go buy some Wander Franco cards.
Oh my God, that is burning money. And yeah, that's painful. Thanks for the memory there, brother.
Sorry,
that's painful. But I did get this one recently.
Yeah.
Not a Wander Franco.
All right.
Riley Green.
Riley Green.
Yeah,
10.
So
Yeah. But yeah, you bought high and you're gonna sell low. You kind of did the opposite.
Well, I mean, high compared to what they're at now, absolutely. But at the time I bought them, they were low for the time, and
correct.
Yeah, I'm definitely eating those cards.
Yeah.
So
it is what it is.
It happens.
Sorry to pull that Band-Aid off again.
Oh, dude, that's not a Band-Aid, man. That was like that's like almost like fully scalping me or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think the part that hurts the most is that you were right. Just like about his
player, about
his talent, right?
Yeah.
And he was, as far as the person, well, that's a whole other thing. But about the player and the talent, you got to feel good about that. You take some solace in that. That hey, next time it comes around, I feel like I know what I'm doing.
Solace doesn't put money back in my wallet, so it's hard. It's really hard to make that like kind of like a consolation because that hurts.
Like I'm trying to put lipstick on a pig here.
yeah, you are. Because it is ugly.
Yeah.
Taking a bath and that stuff. But anyways, it's 8:01 right now. So we're gonna go ahead and sign off. Get ready to watch the game.
Yep.
I did see something kind of cool. I sent it to you earlier, brother. When Jacksonville's playing, I forget who it was, but they're doing like a animated thing, like Toy Story, during that game. And
Yep.
I don't know, I haven't watched it before. I think this is the second year they're doing it. I think I heard it, but they did it last year. I didn't see it if they did last year, but
anyways,
Nickelodeon did the slime.
Oh, the slime.
Yeah. I did see the slime. But yeah, this is like, from what I understand is, so you're gonna see what's happening and like on the like for the actual game, the animated Toy Story characters are gonna be doing exactly what's happening in the game. So you're watching football, but animated players. So it's gonna be interesting anyways. I don't know how great it's going to be. I know they're going to have like announcers animated, all this kind of stuff. I just don't understand it enough to really like speak specifically about things. But all I know is I heard enough about it that it's intrigued me, and I'm just curious how that's going to look.
Yeah.
So, and I think that was October 30th I heard or something like that.
Yeah, I saw commercials at the end of a game last week when I was looking at it. And they were talking about how Toy Story, that's what it was going to be. So I did not get the details on that either. So we'll have to get that up. So when we do our post game, we'll have that information for everybody.
Yeah. But anyway, we appreciate you guys paying attention, watching. Like I said, we're going to log off, watch the game so we can give you a post game afterwards. But we appreciate you, giving us a listen. And we'll just talk to you next time.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
Thanks for listening to No Pads Sports Talk. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media at No Pads Sports Talk.